Hey y'all, welcome to A Taste of Living in Charleston. I'm Bobby Sheely, an 11th generation Charlestonian and your Charleston real estate specialist. Today we're actually shooting in my personal garden at home, and we're stealing the landscape behind us. It's called borrowed landscape when you see those trees across the street. But one day we'll do a tour of this. Today we're talking food. I think that's hopefully everybody's favorite thing. Before we continue, how about click that subscribe button, share it with a friend, ask everybody you know to follow me. Be a great thing. All right, today we're going to talk about Charleston food. Charleston food is a combination of European, African, and Native American cuisines. Southern food combines complex flavors and classic techniques. Now, a lot of it's fried, but we're going to talk about that too. The only thing you should be frying with the thick crust is chicken, but we'll get back to that. Today we're going to talk about 10 iconic dishes to try in Charleston. First one, she crab soup. I don't know if y'all know there's a difference between he crab and she crab, but there is a difference between he crab and she crab. And the she crab soup, of course, has cream, and you want lots of crab in it, a little bit of sherry on top, and some crab roe. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's the she crab eggs, the little tiny orange things you put on top. But there's some good places in town that have she crab soup, and you should definitely try it if you're coming into town, and actually try it at more than one place because different people make it different. But I like mine thick with crab meat, and of course that little touch of sherry is always good. Shrimp and grits. Lord Almighty, everybody comes to Charleston for shrimp and grits. Well, first of all, let me tell you, I think my shrimp and grits are better than anybody else's. I developed a recipe for my new cookbook coming out, A Taste of Living in Charleston. And the funny thing is, I was on a diet, so I thought I could taste it and then spit that out in the garbage can. Well, that lasted about a minute, and I started tasting it, and I ate the whole damn pan, the whole frying pan full of gravy. But anyway, shrimp and grits is to Charleston what pizza is to Chicago, and bagels are to New York City. It became popular in 1982. But we grew up with it as a child. We'd have it for breakfast, we'd have it for lunch, and we'd have it for dinner. And you know, your grits are important. I cheat. I do quick grits, but I do cream in it instead of water and a stick of butter. Tastes pretty good. All right, cornbread. Of course, cornbread's in it. And you know, there's all kind of recipes that you can Google for cornbread, and you can make it in a cast iron skillet in your oven. You can cheat and buy the Jiffy cornbread mixes and dress them up. They taste pretty good. So definitely cornbread. Planter's punch. Well, guess what the object of that is to do? Punch. They want you to get drunk off of drinking one glass. But it was invented, they say at the Planter's Inn, that's why they call it Planter's Punch, but it consists of dark rum, grenadine, pineapple juice, and bitters. Well, the bottom line is you put a lot of dark rum in it and your pineapple juice, or you have some pineapple juice with your rum, and you'll reach the intended effect of Planter's Punch. Hush puppies. Yeah, baby. Now those you need to fry. That's just, you know, cornbread, fried cornmeal batter. And it depends on the type of cornmeal you use and the type of oil you use, but you can't go wrong. It's just really a ball of grease with cornmeal in the middle, but it's good. Frogmore stew. Well, first thing you got to do is get your frog legs. I'm just kidding. We don't use frog legs. Frogmore stew is the same thing if you've heard of Beaufort stew, it's the same thing if you've heard of Low Country boil. The real true name is Frogmore stew. It came from Frogmore, South Carolina, which is below Beaufort. And the folks there used what they had to cook. And they had sausage, they had corn, they had potatoes, they lived on the coast, they had shrimp. And they put all that together and boiled it together, maybe put some, I put beer in mine and a stick of butter. And you time it as you cook it, but it's as low country as you can get. You'll find it all over Charleston, and make sure that you try some of that because it's going to be good. Most definitely the Frogmore stew. Now, fried green tomatoes. Everybody thinks that's so Southern. Well, guess what? It has nothing to do with the South at all. Fried green tomatoes came from the Midwest, believe it or not. Has nothing to do with Charleston, has nothing to do with the South, but the South has stolen it. And everybody thinks you come to Charleston for Southern fried green tomatoes. Well, that's just not the case. They weren't born here. We'll put it like that. They started being popular here in about 1991. But you don't want a fried green tomato that's thick in batter. You want it just lightly coated so you can, and seasoned with cornmeal or a little bit of flour and seasoning so you can enjoy the flavor of the tomato with it. So just remember that when you see these fried green tomatoes fried thick like fried chicken, you don't want that. All right, okra soup, of course, okra in everything. Now you got to boil okra down, make it mushy, but you know, shrimp and okra and chicken, okra bog, okra stew. But okra is a staple of the South. I can remember as a child, my grandfather teaching me how to pick it. And if it gets on your arms, it's itchy as hell. So just remember that if you go to see okra to pick any of it, you get any of that on you, you can be scratching, but definitely okra. Of course, sweet tea. How can you go wrong with tea and sugar? I can remember as a child, my grandmother would make tea, and she didn't put any sugar in it, but she gave us the sugar so we could put how much sugar we wanted in our own tea. Well, you can imagine as a child that turned out as a disaster. We probably had an inch of sugar in the bottom of the glass, but sweet tea for sure. Here we go, fried chicken. Yes, and you want a thick, crunchy crust. And after that, you know, it should be good to go. I love fried chicken. I cannot make fried chicken. It always tastes good, but it looks horrible. So fried chicken, and you know, call around and ask places who has crispy fried chicken, and you won't go wrong. The next thing is deviled crabs. My mother made deviled crabs as a child, and she always made them in the crab shell from the crabs we caught, and I don't know how I never got that recipe. I don't know if she ever wrote it down, but I sure did love it. But these are just a few items of food that you should think about when you come to Charleston, and make sure you eat at least one of each everywhere you go and you stay here. But food is a huge thing in Charleston. And one quick thing before I go, this is the cover of my book that's coming out, A Taste of Living in Charleston. It's hitting retail stores October 26th. And right now it can even be bought pre-sales at Mascot, M-A-S-C-O-T, books.com. Taste of Living in Charleston. But don't forget me, Bobby Shealy, your real estate specialist, your resident foodie. Instagram, A Taste of Living in Charleston. Follow me on YouTube and follow me on Facebook at Bobby Shealy. I appreciate it. Love the Low Country. See y'all later.